What's up everyone, it's Dan. Welcome back to another episode of Guitar Talk. Do all those YouTubey things that help us grow, like hit the like button, subscribe button, note, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, roll that intro. What is up guys, welcome back. So today we are looking at the Joyo Preamp house pedal. I'll start by saying Joyo reached out to us and said, we've got some stuff we want you to review, can we send it over? And I said, yep, send it over, I'll take a look. As usual, I will be completely 100% transparent, honest, unbiased. If they've sent me something and I think it sucks, I'll say it sucks. If they sent me something and I think it's good, I'll say it's good. I'm pretty black and white like that. I've unboxed this about half an hour ago and just made sure that it works. I've not messed with anything because I thought while I got time to do a video, you guys can listen and learn while I listen and learn. I've read the instructions, which are a single piece of paper. One side is Chinese, one side is English. I will say the instructions are very good at telling you what each of the controls is, but doesn't go into a lot of detail about what each of the controls actually does. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory and pretty easy, so hopefully I won't mess it up. If I do, that's why. I am using my PRS McCarty with a rosewood neck. That is going straight into the Joyo Preamp house pedal. That is going into my interface, and that is recording via Studio One. There's no post-processing. Everything that you hear is just coming straight from the pedal. Let's get stuck in. So I turn the pedal on. I've not changed any controls. This is just a straight, this is what you get when you turn it on. A pretty non-offensive, nice, clean tone, which to me does actually sound pretty nice. Let's take a look at what some of these controls do. So we've got 2 foot switches, A and B. You can store presets on, so 2 different presets. A is like the cleaner side of amps, B is the more distorted, overdriven side. There are 9 amps in the pedal itself. Obviously you can see it's about the size of my hand, so it fits very well on pedal boards, desktop, wherever you want to put it. I'll be honest, I velcroed it to this desk so that it doesn't move around, and I'm capturing with my iPhone so you can see what I'm twiddling on there. The instructions do say they're loosely labeled on here, but the instructions do say what each of these amps actually is. So the US 65TW is a Fender Twin. The FMBE 100 is a Friedman. The EVH3 is a 5153 amp. Interestingly, so they've got the UK 900, which is a JCM 900. Most pedals like this go for the JCM 800. They've gone for the 900. The UK 30 is a Vox AC30. Mesa Boogie Lone Star, dual rectifier, Engel Powerball, and a Thunderverb. Is it a Thunderverb? Yeah, Thunderverb 200. So that's what's on here. We've got an XLR out, a jack in. There's a USB in, which it says is for firmware updates, but it doesn't tell you where you get firmware from. There's pretty simplified amp controls, gain, bass, middle, treble, volume, an overall master volume, and a cab sim, which I believe is just a straight up 4x12 cab sim. So there's no, like, if you're on the Fender Twin, you're modeling a Fender Twin cab, and then on the AC30, a Vox cab. It's just straight up 4x12 simplified cab emulation. You can turn that off if you're using this, like if you're recording and you want to use your own cab IR. So if you want to get a little bit more realistic and use the IR of a Fender Twin cab with the Fender Twin, you can do that. You can split, so where it says 6.35, that's a 1/4 inch jack, so you can have the emulation on the XLR only, or you can have it on the XLR and the jack. So yeah, all pretty straightforward. Obviously, XLR you can plug straight into PA system, into desk, or into an FRFR cab, whatever you want to plug it into, or you can use a jack output straight into an amp. All good. So let's get stuck in and listen to some sounds. So we are on one which, so when we move this, you can see it knows that the sound that the preset has saved has changed, so it starts flashing to let you know. And then I believe to save a preset, you hold the foot switch down, it flashes, and you've saved that preset state to that foot switch. That was very quick. So you've only got to hold it down for a second. I will straight up say, I'd like that to be longer, because if you are not very quick and you're playing live, like I'd love that to be like 3 seconds to hold that down for, because it would be very easy to accidentally overwrite your preset that you've put on there. So yeah, let's try and be careful not to do that. So on the Fender Twin sound, let's turn the gain up a little bit, go for those kind of Magic 6 Fender-y tones, and see what we get. It's a very hot output. I'm looking over at my laptop and seeing that there's a lot of level there, so I'll turn that down a bit. Sounds nice and jangly, a bit Fender-y. Very dry, obviously, as I said, there's no kind of post-processing, so there's no reverb or anything on here. You just, if you are using this pedal, you got as your own reverb and effects. There is an effects loop on the back as well. I forgot that because I can't see, but I can see it on there. So you can put an effects loop or like a time-based effect in here if you want to sweeten it up a little bit. Right, let's take a listen to channel B. Which I guess I've got to move all of these around to make sure they're not in their preset state. Just kind of like a wiry, hot, turned up amp, really. Bit of a volume difference between the two, but I guess that's something where you'll have to balance the volumes and then make sure that when you say preset A and preset B that they are volume balanced. Let's move straight from the Fender straight to the JCM 900, which... Okay, so I guess a really cool use of this pedal would be to have on your pedal board to use live as either your main amp tone, or to have it in your bag as like a backup for if your amp goes down and you need to just plug straight into the PA system. So it's really cool that you can save preset A and preset B for your clean and dirty tone, but that will be a little bit cumbersome, I guess. If you are wanting to explore the sounds on the pedal like I am, when you go from, so we're on the dirty channel and we're going back to the clean channel, to make sure that we are on the right amp and that we haven't just got these all set to whatever state they were in when we saved the preset. So I guess that's going to be a little bit cumbersome. I'll have to remember to do that in between different channels. But JCM 900, which I think is the slightly gainier version, I think, of that series of amps. stays very, very clean. I would have thought that might break up a little bit more when you push that clean channel. Again, very high output. On the interface, I've got the input gain turned all the way off and the pad on, and that's still very, very hot. Right, let's move over to the overdrive side of things and give these a bit of a wiggle so that they're not where they are, and go for some Marshally style tones. That's only with the gain halfway. That's very hot. That's very overdriven. What happens if we turn the gain down? Okay, that's cool. Let's jump forward a bit to something like the 5153. Make sure that these are lots and lots of gain on tap there. That's great fun. But again, a lot quieter than the first few amps. Let's go over to the clean side of it, which should be, depending on the 5153 amp, if it's just the bog standard one, should be a bit Fendery. Okay, so on that one you can actually get some gain out of the clean side. Let's go straight over to the the Friedman BE100 and see what we get there. Okay, that one, I don't remember it sounding quite like that in the flesh, but let's take a listen on the dirty side. let's take a listen to see how well it cleans up. So it does clean up really well. I'm quite impressed with that. So that is all pretty self-explanatory and very easy to use. That's very easy to dial in some tones. Whether or not those tones sound exactly like the amps, I would say is a matter of opinion. But I don't think they are going to sound like you would expect, because like I said earlier, it's a 4x12 emulation, so the Fender, you wouldn't normally have that through a 4x12. But the tones to me are very usable. There are some very tweakable tones in there that if through the PA system they sound like what's coming out of the monitors over there, then there are going to be some very incredibly usable tones in here. I use a Fractal FM9, which is over there as my main rig live. This, for me, would work really well. Touch wood, nothing has ever happened to my FM9. It's never let me down. But should it let me down, this would be a great thing to have in a bag, that you can just grab, whip the XLR out the back of that and plug it into this and just carry on a show with no fuss. And the fact that it's very easy to, still I would say too quick to save a preset. It's very easy to save a preset on here so that you can just have a, let's dial in a quick, so on the clean side of things, I could have pretty bog standard clean. Let's save that. So that is saved. And then on channel B, I could have something like, what's the Mesa Boogie Lone Star going to be like? Is that the Lone Star? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that could be channel B. So now live, I just plug this XLR cable in, and through the PA system I've got a perfectly usable clean channel and a perfectly usable overdrive channel, which I'm guessing I can sweeten up a little bit on the PA system and add a little bit of reverb and delay if I want to, straight on the, so yeah, sorry, camera ran out of battery, so I've just changed the battery, so I guess that's a good time to put the guitar down and talk a little bit about the pedal and what I think. So I am very, very impressed with this. I think in the UK these retail at around £150, which the construction on this pedal is a metal chassis. It's got lights on it, so it's very clear that it's turned on. The knobs, most of the knobs on here are plastic, including the big chrome knobs, but the little switch in the middle, all metal. The two main foot switches, metal. The fact it's got an XLR output on here as well is a big plus for me. So I've said before in other videos, I use the Fractal FM9 over there live. That's my main thing that I use. I have searched for a backup for that because I don't want to spend another like £2,000 on another fractal as a backup for that one. It's never gone wrong, touch wood, it won't. But for a backup, I want something inexpensive that is going to get me through a gig that's still going to sound good. And there were a couple of things that were like a must-have for that backup. One is to be able to have 1 or 2 channels that I can switch between. Like I can dial in a good crunch tone and clean it up with the guitar if I want to just get by with just 1 channel. Having 2 channels is great for that, so I can have one set as like a crunchier tone on, I guess with the 51, 53 style amp, and then have channel B be like a louder kind of sound, so that if I want to switch to solo for a solo boost, I can put that on channel B. The other main thing that I wanted was an XLR out, so that if something happened, like someone spilt a drink all over my fractal, something like that, is that I can whip the XLR out the back of that and just plug it straight into another unit and just be away. I don't want to mess around with DI boxes, jacks. If I'm doing my own sound, I don't want to have to grab a long jack cable, unplug from the PA and plug in a jack cable, all that stuff. I just want an XLR. And you'd be surprised, all the little Line 6 units, the Tone X units, some of the stuff like lower price unit, just loads of them don't have an XLR output, and it's great that this does. That makes it 10 times more usable for me. So very impressed it's got that on there. And as I say, at that kind of value for money, having these usable tones, and I guess I wouldn't particularly say that the tones on the amps referenced on the front of here, I wouldn't say that it's particularly accurate. I guess that's a matter of opinion. I wouldn't say that the JCM 900 sounded like a JCM 900 and all that stuff. What I would say is to use these as a reference for if you want this kind of ballpark tone. If you want a Fendery style tone, use amp number 1. If you want a Van Halen style tone, modern Van Halen style tone, use a 51, 53. If you want a Marshally tone, I would probably say use the Friedman rather than the JCM 900 they put on here. So I would just use these as a reference for ballpark tone that you want. Again, the fact that there's that many tones in that pedal at that price point is great. I would love, I'm sure someone somewhere when they were designing this thought, yeah, 1 second to hold down these and store a preset, really fast, really efficient. I would love for that to take longer, like 3 seconds or something, so that you're not accidentally overwriting things, especially if you are really finicky, really precious about what you've dialed in on here and that you, to the minute millimeter that you've turned those knobs. It would be really annoying to accidentally overwrite that by holding the button down for 1 second. I guess live, in a live scenario, it doesn't matter so much that if you've saved your like clean tone and your crunch tone, you're only like, you're on your clean tone and you've held it down for 1 second, you're overwriting your clean tone with your clean tone. It's not a big deal, but it would be nice to, like, just as a fail-safe for when you're dialing in your tones, that you don't accidentally overwrite something if you spent a lot of time really, really dialing it in. I don't know what else there is to say about this other than if you can get hold of one to try one out, then by all means try one out and see what you think yourself. I think this is a very, very useful pedal. The effects loop as well. I've not got another pedal lying around, I think, to plug into the effects loop to see how effective that is. But the addition of an effects loop on there as well just makes it really useful to be able to put this on a pedal board with your other pedals and put time-based effects in the effects loop and things like overdrive and stuff in front of this as well. Let me know if you've got any questions. I'm going to have this thing around for a while to go a little bit more in depth into it and have a play with it. Maybe I'll do some follow-up videos with it, but let me know what you think. I'm very, very impressed with that, especially for 150 quid. Yeah, let me know what you think. Other than that, hit the like button, subscribe button. See you guys in the next video. Bye.